Monday afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from. My name is Chuck Armstrong. I host Loudwire's national radio show, Loudwire Nights, and joining me, as always, is Matt Wardlaw, host of Ultimate Classic Rock's national radio show, Ultimate Classic Rock Nights. Matt, it's so good to see you, man.
Dude, it is so great to see you. It's been a little while since we've done one of these, and I think I reached out and I was like, come on, man, we are heading up to Thanksgiving. Nothing really happens Thanksgiving week. None of us have anything to do. We're not busy. That's all a big lie. But I said, Chuck, let's get together and let's talk about music because all the things we're thankful for, we're certainly thankful for music. So it's great to see you, man. Great to be here.
That's right, man. And yeah, man, it is great. We've done this a few times, and I think we're going to start doing this pretty regularly. So
Yeah, which is
kind of
great.
put this on your calendar if you're tuning in, like this time right now, every Monday. Matt and Chuck will get together. We'll talk about music. It's the rock rundown is not a complicated title. That's what we're doing, man. We're just talking through rock and roll,
Yep.
and we got a lot of things to talk through. Like you said, man, it's a non-busy week got pretty busy, and I don't know where we should start. Some pretty big news came
Yeah,
this morning, right?
it did. But before we get to that news, I really think
All
that we
right, all
should
right.
talk about something cool that you guys happen to know have happened over at Loudwire, and that is you guys have launched a vinyl subscription club. So, which for you and I, the vinyl subscription club, that's us every day, every hour of every week. But
That's right.
there's now a formal option if you want to have this stuff show up at your house without you having to do anything, which I think is the dream for the two of us. You can now do that with the Loudwire vinyl subscription. It's available in a bunch of different options. There is the metal vinyl subscription, Loudwire Essentials. There's classic rock you can choose to get. Check this out. You can choose to get vinyl once a month, once every 2 weeks, or even one LP sent to you each week. It starts at $40 per month. You can gift a subscription to a friend or someone you love. Chuck, sometimes we even love our friends. Sometimes it's both. But it's very cool stuff. I was very jazzed checking it out today. Um, you can go to store.loudwire.com, highlight music on the menu. You're going to see subscriptions is one of the menu options. And while you're there, and this is where I'm going to then throw it back to you because you're right, there is a lot of tour news and stuff to talk about, but it's the Black Friday sale has already started at Loudwire. Things are up to
That's right.
30% off throughout the store. All vinyl is 15% off. So today's a great day to add some additional music to your collection, Chuck. You
That's
haven't bought
right.
anything recently, so it's time.
Yeah. No, that's right, man. And yeah, the subscription is really cool. And it kind of you sit back and you let the minds at Loudwire curate the best of the best for you. And that means every time you get it, man, you might not love it. You might be surprised by it, but that's kind of the fun of it. And you might be
100%.
obsessed with it already, and then you get to add it to your collection. So it's pretty cool, man. But yeah, listen, I was thinking there's a big news item that came this morning, but also it's been a big weekend, man. And
Yeah.
if you followed any of the things going on with Tool
Hmm.
playing down under in Australia, New Zealand, they had a pretty big show this weekend with a pretty I think it's safe to say like historic set list, right?
Very historic set list. And this is bonkers. I've been thinking about this a lot today, Chuck, as I was getting ready to talk to you because they busted out a bunch of songs that they haven't played in at least 20 years, including Crawl Away, which they had not played since 1998. But among the stuff that they pulled out was they played H, which they hadn't done since November of
Right.
2002. The next day, they did Prison Sex, which they hadn't done since April of 2002. And isn't it bonkers, man? H is literally one of the top streamed Tool songs if you look at like the stream rankings. And
Yeah.
Tool is this band that has these massive songs that they don't play, and they have not played in some cases, as we saw this past weekend, for over 2 decades. And I was thinking about this, and I think part of the function of that, Chuck, is that Tool songs are really long, but it's pretty crazy. We have this conversation, you and I, about bands and things that they do not play in their set lists when they have a ton
Yeah.
of hits, but Tool really takes it to the max. So we really saw this weekend with the two shows that they played in New Zealand. Between the two shows, they busted out like a total of like 7 or 8 songs that they had not
Yeah.
played in just years. And so if you were a Tool fan, you're right, man. Tool Reddit, everywhere on the internet was just blowing up talking about these shows. And I know that you can see lots of video because thankfully people were filming.
That's right, man, yeah. Against the band's wishes, I believe, but,
Yes.
maybe things are different in Australia and New Zealand, I don't know. But they also played a couple of just great songs from Lateralis. I think they opened with The Grudge, and,
Yeah.
they also played Disposition, which was
Yeah.
another one of the songs that they haven't played for 23 years, which is just wild. And I was talking before we jumped on, talking with, the mastermind of our record store for Loudwire, and I guess we had been sold out of Lateralis for a while. Just got
Oh, wow.
restocked, and it's pretty sweet pressing. Actually, I gotta show it to you. It's a
Oh,
great kind of
man.
Tool-esque, cover. Uh, but the discs they're kind of this hybrid of just standard black
Yeah.
and picture disc, which I'll show you.
Yeah. Dude, they always do it right with the vinyl. Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Do you let your kids play that stuff?
No,
You don't let your kids play it? No, yeah, I figured not.
no, they're not allowed in here, man. But dude, go to store.loudwire.com and you can pick up this. It's a double LP, so there's two of these. Great
Yeah,
sleeves for the records. Very yeah, it's a very great Tool pressing. And if you're a Tool fan and a vinyl collector, it's tough sometimes to find their stuff on vinyl.
it is.
And so when you see Lateralis restocked at a record
You grab
store,
it up.
you got to pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
man,
other big
and
news came this morning, I think, Matt, not just reflecting on Tool's set list, but,
no,
maybe some
man, and this
future
is
set lists
something
from a
I think
major band next year.
yeah, you and I were like we've heard rumblings about this, but we got really 2 announcements this morning from Guns N' Roses because, one, they announced that they're going to be playing stadiums and amphitheaters, here in the US in 2026, but they also announced that next week we're gonna hear a couple more new songs from GNR, and I'm jealous of you because in your area/vicinity, you've got at least 2 GNR dates in driving distance close to you, and one of those is in the Kansas City area. I think you were telling me that's gonna be at the new amphitheater that hasn't even been open yet, so it's gonna be a great year for
Yeah.
GNR fans.
Yeah, dude, it's great, man. They announced a bunch of dates. They played all over the world this year, and I
Yeah.
was hoping they might extend it to America for this fall, and of course they didn't. But fortunately, they heard my prayers and yeah, touring all over. But yeah, this date in Kansas City is pretty wild. They're playing these baseball stadiums all over, but in KC they're doing this amphitheater, brand new, not even opened yet, and so it's going to be the first season of this venue next year, and GNR will be a big part of it. So I'm excited
And
to
just
see
the
too who they end up bringing
yeah.
out on the road with them.
Oh, yeah, and just the capacity alone, I know that, like, locally for us, our sheds that are within distance tend to be like 18 to 20,000. So that's a
Yeah,
relatively intimate show by GNR standards. And as far as the new music goes, by the way, Chuck, 2 songs. One of them is called Nothing. The other one's called Atlas. That second one, Atlas, I think is going to be familiar to a lot of GNR fans. Both of these songs, from what we know, are from relatively the Chinese democracy era. So they're continuing to kind of mine that era of GNR and go back to
yeah.
that music that was not released, redo it with Slash and Duff. And I'm looking forward to hearing what that stuff sounds like.
Yeah, and listen, I'm just a salesman now, man, but, if you're going to see GNR next year, you gotta be dressed right, and, we actually have some really cool GNR T-shirts
We do.
in the Loudwire and UCR stores, so, make sure you check that out. What else is
I,
going on, man?
man, it's just been well, first of all, we should talk about like obviously we mentioned I think we talked a little bit about Thanksgiving, and I just wanted to talk. I know that you've got some cool stuff coming up on the radio show later this week. You're going to do something a little bit different this year on Loudwire Nights for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we're not celebrating Thanksgiving, man. We're just throwing it out the window, and, we are celebrating Ozgiving, paying tribute to Ozzy. Not that we need a reason to, but obviously this year has just led us to the point of realizing like, man, on a day where you're sharing thanks and gratitude and all of that, what better way to round the night out with than celebrating Ozzy? So we're gonna play a ton of Ozzy, man, and Sabbath and songs that Ozzy's featured on all night long. But what I'm most excited about is we've got listeners calling and leaving messages. They're going to be part of it because it's a family celebration, and we're going to revisit interviews that we've had throughout the years
You talk to
paying
a lot
tribute
of folks.
to Ozzy. Dude, we've been, it's just it's an embarrassment of riches with the men and women who have joined us on the show and hung out with the Loudwire family. And so we're going to hear from Sammy Hagar and Rob Halford. We just mentioned Tool, Maynard, and Adam Jones are going to be on. Zach Wild will be on. And if you'd missed the interview, that when we aired it, he's got a lot to say about Ozzy and Sabbath. We'll also hear from the great Henry Rollins, who we talked to about a week after Ozzy passed away,
Yeah.
and also Billy Corgan, who we talked to just a couple of days after Ozzy passed away, and it's a really powerful conversation. We've also got some things from Slash, Charlie Sheen, Steve-O,
Fantastic.
just
Yeah.
it's just on and on, man. Yeah, so it's going to be a great Ozgiving night for Loudwire.
Well, something I'm going to mention here for folks that like going out to the theaters, like to leave the house. I don't know if anybody likes to leave the house, but oh, look at that. What is that? Tell me what that is.
Well, I was just going through my vinyl, and I forgot
Oh,
that a buddy of mine went to Japan and he bought this
dude.
Blizzard of Oz classic record.
Complete with the Obby
So
strip. That's awesome.
yeah, pretty amazing, man. But listen, here we go again. We have a really exclusive pressing of this classic album. I think it's like a
Very
red
cool.
swirl vinyl pressing, and uh, you know, I don't know how you feel about some of those pressings, but I think they're cool, and I think they just kind of
Absolutely.
extend the physical nature of the music. But I think we've got 20 left. So this is a silver
No.
and red swirl vinyl
Yeah.
of Blizzard of Oz. Only got 20 left on the shelf, and I think once they're gone, I don't know that they're repressing that version of it. So check
Yeah.
that
I
out
don't know how
at
you feel about this, Chuck,
a
but
Loudwire
how do you feel
store.
about people going to store.ultimateclassicrock.com and using my discount code Wardlaw15 to buy that Blizzard of Oz reissue? That sounds like a mighty fine idea to me. You got some
What I didn't,
trepidation. I see
you're
it.
you're
I'm sorry.
breaking up. You're breaking up, man. I didn't hear that, man.
Fantastic. Well, you know what? Our buddy Rich, who both you and I know, has been hooking up some super cool giveaways recently. And one of the things he reached out about is he said, "Hey, man," he's like, Doors have their 2009 documentary, When You're Strange, coming back to theaters. And it's going to be in theaters starting December 4th. People can go to whenyourstrangemovie.com for showtimes and tickets. But he gave us a very cool giveaway that I'm telling people watching this about. It's not even up. It's going to be on the UCR site later today. But we have some super cool stuff, copies of the Doors Immersed box set featuring all the albums on Dolby Atmos, plus Rhino Reserve vinyl copies of Doors' greatest hits. And you and I both love the Record Store Day stuff. He sent the rare Record Store Day vinyl from 2017 of the Doors, recorded live in San Francisco back in 1967. And to sweeten the pot, Rich goes, Chuck, he said to me, he said, "How would you like to talk to John Densmore from the Doors?" I was like, Rich,
No
absolutely
big
not. I
deal.
turned him down flat. But then I rethought, I got back to Rich. I said, maybe we should do that. And so we're going to have John Densmore on Ultimate Classic Rock Nights tonight, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Man, it's so selfless of you to
Yeah.
talk to a literal living legend. I mean, just it's
Literal
really,
living
really good
legend.
of you, Matt.
Yeah, and you know what? You've been so good at being a carnival barker up to this point, so I'm gonna put on my carnival
Let's
barker
go.
hat
Let's do
right
it.
now as well and tell you, Chuck, that that place that I just mentioned a few minutes ago, if you were to go to imagine this, Chuck, if you were to start typing on your keyboard and go to store.ultimateclassicrock.com, you could grab LA Woman, which I'm going to talk to John Dinsmore about the Doors album LA Woman. You can grab that on yellow vinyl
Nice.
from
Ooh,
our
nice.
UCR vinyl store right now. Wardlaw 15 gets you 15% off of that purchase. So, but enough about me. Back to you, Chuck.
Yeah, well, listen, I just got to give a shout out to some folks who've been commenting, like Jockey and Casey and
Yes.
Daytona and Debbie and Pat and someone named Chuck. Great name, man. And Debbie and everyone else tuning in. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're just joining, my name is Chuck. I host Loudwire's radio show, Loudwire Nights, and Matt Wardlaw hosts Ultimate Classic Rocks radio show, UCR Nights. And we're doing this every Monday around the same time. The
Yep.
Rock Rundown, talking through music, news, tours, and diving into the stores of Loudwire and UCR as well, because we've got a lot of great Vine, a lot of great T-shirts, a lot of great merch uh, that is up for grabs, and it all goes pretty quick, man. So you don't want to you don't want to hesitate. And look at this, Debbie, loving what you're sharing, Matt. Doors are one of her favorites too. Uh, but I
I knew
want to
somebody
say,
would like what I do
yes, yeah, you
eventually.
found the one. You found the one fan of the Doors.
Yeah. Well,
I got to
dude.
say though, we
Yeah.
Loudwire just this morning published our picks for the best albums of 2025. And so, yes, I know the year's not completely over yet, but we have a good sense of the albums that are still to come and the albums that have come out. And we've picked 51 of our favorite
Nice.
rock and metal. This covers everything. And you can see all of the picks at loudwire.com on the Loudwire app. And of course, you're going to be ticked off when you check it out. That's kind of the point. I want to know
Yes.
what's missing from it. What's your favorite album of the year? But there's a lot of good picks, man, and we cover a lot of ground, and I think that's what I love about rock and roll. And this, Matt, is just that you know the gates are wide open for
Totally.
so many different sounds, so many different genres, and all of that. And I gotta say,
Yeah, show me. I wanted to ask what some of your favorites are on the list. I
as we
knew you would
talked
have a
about,
visual aid.
as we talked about Ozzy,
You are such a shyster. Show it.
as we talk about Ozzy, and just reflect on the year of Ozzy, right, and go back
Yeah,
to the show on July 5th, back to the beginning. There's no question that if you remove Ozzy and Black Sabbath from the conversation, that the guy who had the moment on that day at Villa Park in Birmingham was Yungblud.
for
When
sure.
he sang "Changes," one of nobody's favorite Black Sabbath songs, right? But
Right.
it's not the one that you think like, oh man, that represents Sabbath, and he completely owned it.
It's
Well,
how he
that
did it, man. So emotional.
unbelievable, man. And then he just had the stadium just singing every word to that song. Well, just about a month before that, he released his latest album, Idols, and it is absolutely worth your time.
Ooh,
Uh,
look at that.
I think it's got some Grammy nominations. I know Youngblood's got some Grammy nominations, but this is on the list of the best albums of 2025. And it's also in the Loudwire record store. But the really cool thing I got to talk about is the first track on this album, "Hello Heaven, Hello." If you look at the timestamp on the label, it is 9 minutes and 6 seconds. Not
Oh, wow.
many young artists open their album with a 9-minute song. Now we were talking about Tool before, and they would do that.
Yes. Yeah.
But when you think about Youngblood, when you see that performance at Back to the Beginning, you would not think like, oh yeah, that guy's got a 9-minute epic in him, but he does. And the story behind that, and just how it's kind of changed everything for him, is really cool. People caught wind of this. People, as in peers of Youngblood or peers of
Hmm.
Ozzy, and they were like, "Dude, that is cool that you had the balls to do that." Because everybody at the label said you can't open your album with a 9-minute song. He did, and guys like Joe Perry caught wind of it, and they reached out to him and said, "That's so cool." And Youngblood said, "You know what? That is cool. By the way, Joe, would you and Steven like to do something together sometime?" And because I think the story goes, Joe reached out to Youngblood and said, "Hey, if you do a new version of that 9-minute song, like maybe I could do a solo for it." And Youngblood
Yeah.
said, like, "Well, why would we do that? Let's do something together." And that is what prompted Aerosmith and Youngblood to do this new EP one more time that just came out 3 days
Yeah. This
ago.
past Friday. Yeah.
Aerosmith's first new music in over a decade. Absolutely amazing. But it kind of all starts with that opening track uh, on this album. That is, I'd say, one of the best of 2025. And I'm guessing if you're like me, you're probably not super familiar with Youngblood's catalog, or you weren't. And so I would definitely say this is worth adding to your collection because there's no better way to experience than putting it on the turntable, dropping the needle, sitting back, not skipping tracks, anything like that, and just soaking it in.
Yeah. You talked to Youngblood earlier this year on the program, and that was one of the things that really kind of struck me was just that I thought this whole thing of him working with Aerosmith was more coordinated than it was, and just to kind of hear how
Yeah.
organically it kind of came together. And I
Yeah.
think one anecdote that I've heard since then is that Joe, as you mentioned, was going to work with Youngblood, and Steven caught wind of it, and Steven was like basically like, "Wait, can I get in on this too?" So it all just kind of came together
Yeah.
piece by piece. It was
Yeah.
not like things happen sometimes where it's like, why don't we get Youngblood to work with the guys from Aerosmith? It did not happen that directly. It really came
Yeah.
together bit by bit to create the magic that ended up being the 5 songs that we got on the EP this past week.
That's right, which, is available at our stores for Loudwire and UCR. 5 new songs, Aerosmith and Yungblud, 4 brand new songs, and then their new version of Back in the Saddle, which is awesome. You can pick that up on vinyl. I just got a message that we only have 10 of these, in
Oh,
Loudwire's store, and so if you wanna own one of Loudwire's picks for the best music of 2025,
there you go. That's what
order
you need
this
to
right
do.
now,
Yeah.
and then sit back and soak up that 9-minute album opener, man. Um But yeah, it's really amazing. But yeah, another anecdote from that, just from the organic nature of this all coming together, Youngblood told us on Loudwire that Steven and Joe were going to come to LA and meet with Youngblood. And this is kind of their first like real meeting. And Youngblood didn't know how it was going to go. He didn't know anything, what would happen. But just to be safe, he reserved studio space at a studio across the street from where Joe and Steven were staying. And he was
So
like,
good.
we'll just see how the first date goes." And then I think after about 45 minutes of them, doing all the pleasantries and getting to know each other quickly, they got in the studio and they just, they made this new EP.
I kinda love that Youngblood is seasoned enough already at this point in the music industry that even he knew that if I'm gonna have Joe Perry and Steven Tyler in my zip code, I should make that happen close by to
Just
a
to be
studio,
safe.
and I should have that studio reserved just in case we get an opportunity to do something. Yeah, man. So cool.
That's right, man. All right, I've droned on enough about
You
Youngblood.
have. We mentioned Smashing Pumpkins briefly, earlier in this show, and I got a friend of mine likes to call this mailbox magic when you go to your mailbox and there's something cool there. So I got the forthcoming new book from Melissa Ofterbar, who played bass for Smashing Pumpkins and for Hole. It is called Even the Good Girls Will Cry, a 90s rock memoir. That is out. A lot of people haven't seen this yet because this is not out until March of next year. So
Wow.
this is an advanced copy, and anybody that has followed the career of just Hole to start with, but all the various 90s rock bands. Melissa gets into all of it from Jane's Addiction to Nirvana to being on tour with Green Day. Of course, lots of Hole and Smashing Pumpkins stuff. I opened it up to a page that I took a picture of the page and sent it to you, Chuck. That just the excerpt that I read had Courtney Love getting grabbed by security on the Green Day tour and like hauled out against her will. So if you're looking for action, I'm pretty sure that music fans, you're going to find it in that book from Melissa Oftemar. And so, again, that's going to be out next March. We have kind of a thing that we've done here on the Rock Rundown where we talk about the collector's corner, sort of. And so I'm kind of
Yeah.
throwing that in as my collector's corner item of the week. And since we're in that general Smashing Pumpkins related vein, something else that folks can get their hands on that I believe you might have this. It's absolutely beautiful, man. I will keep droning on. See, I'm going to learn from Chuck and drone on. But the 4 LP Melancholy Smashing Pumpkins box set. I mean, look at that thing. It is just insane. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I
It's
hadn't even
great.
seen all the packaging.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. And this is a few years old because they just celebrated the 30th anniversary
They
of
did.
this album. And so yeah, but this is a beautiful box set, packed with really great liner notes, so much extra music. And yeah, we do have it in the store. When I came across this in a record store, I was just I didn't know this existed, and I was like,
Yeah.
yes, here's my wallet, just, take what what you need out of it because I gotta have this." So it's very cool that we have this in the Loudwire store too. What I didn't have at that record store was a discount code, so if you need if you wanna save 15% off, use Chuck15, CHUCK15, and, but listen, these especially with the 30th anniversary of Melancholy,
Mhm.
These will go fast. I know these are a
They
huge
will.
collector's item. They've popped up on Discogs for a lot more money than face value, but we do have some in the store, I believe, and,
Yeah.
they will not
Face
last
value, like
because of that anniversary.
no. No, it's a good price. It's like 99 bucks, and that's why I'm glad you mentioned the discount code because when we talk about the discount code, that's the perfect opportunity to, use one of those discount codes, really kinda maximize the, uh, value of the discount code. But I really like what Billy has done with these Smashing Pumpkins reissues because he's one of these guys and Guns N' Roses just put out a similar reissue, but Billy is one of these guys that he makes sure that you get the correct artwork. And in the case of what you just showed us, man, he kind of reimagined the artwork and he always does such a cool
That's right.
job making sure that the packaging is super cool. And that's just my quick segue to a live album that I think both you and I liked a lot since we were talking about GNR earlier, Guns N' Roses live era 1987 to 1993. That came out this past Friday, and they remastered that from the original analog tapes, which is super cool. You don't hear that a lot. Sometimes they can't find the original master tapes these days. But they also went back and got the original artwork so that they could properly present it on LP. I think maybe it was out on vinyl very briefly in very small numbers back in the day. But this is something that since it came out, you haven't been able to find it in the wild, as they say, on vinyl. And that's also out there at a really good price point, 79 bucks or something like that. So Kiss Alive 50th anniversary box set. As I was saying on the radio show recently, Chuck, there is just so much music that's coming out, and that's why I'm glad we have an opportunity to talk like this to kind of recap some of the stuff. I mean, just this past weekend, man, I know they're in your area. You got to see Spirit Box, so like the two of us, like we're always doing cool stuff. And since I mentioned it, I might have slyly mentioned that. Tell me about that Spirit Box experience.
Yeah, it was last night, man. It was great, and, you can follow Loudwire on Instagram and, see some videos on in our stories. They're still up, but Periphery opened, and then which they were fantastic. I've never seen them before, and then Spirit Box played, and I had never seen Spirit Box play a headline show. I've seen them open, they've had some major tours, like with Shinedown and Papa Roach and with Gojira and Korn, but they filled this, beautiful theater in Kansas City called the Midland, and, it was amazing, man. Like, the band sounded so good. The production was arena level production. Courtney LaPlante has a range and an intensity to her voice that you hear on the albums and you see on videos, but to just witness it in the same room as her is astonishing. And then to kind of realize, like, oh man, she's been doing that for 90 minutes. And she
Oh,
does that, every night or every other night. Like it's wild. But really, really cool. And it's been a big year for Spirit Box, man, and a big year for Courtney. She and Amy Lee of Evanescence and Poppy released the amazing song End of You. And of course, Spirit Box released their latest album, Tsunami Sea, earlier this year. And we have a bunch of Spirit Box in the store, but I gotta say this because I haven't physically held this, but I just saw it this morning as I was kind of thinking about, what should I buy after seeing Spirit Box live? And we have this really cool tri-colored wax
that is
version
super cool.
of
Yeah.
Tsunami Sea, and it's a great album, man. Great new album from Spirit Box. Certainly one of the best of 2025. Huh? Look at that. You can see all of our picks for the best of 2025 at loudwire.com. But this is a really cool vinyl variant, and you don't see these. This is getting super nerdy, but you don't see tri-colored wax that often. And when you
Yeah.
do, it flies off the shelves. Like it
Yeah.
just does not stick around because it's so rare and so unique. And so, listen, if you love Spirit Box, even if you already have the album, I would say this tri-colored wax is probably worth adding to your collection.
Well, I'm glad that you said all that because super nerdy is what we do here, Chuck, and we're up against it. I think we're
Yeah,
almost at
yeah.
the wrapping point. Ryan, who oversees this whole thing, he doesn't like us to go longer than about 5 minutes, and I think we're well past that. I haven't checked the time, but I think we're getting there. I have a couple final things that I'm going to wrap with. One, is there anything else that we should mention? I know that there's the Avatar Loudwire exclusive vinyl. We should probably, give that a quick mention. But I want to give you a chance to think about something since this is the Thanksgiving week. Do you have any Thanksgiving musical traditions? Because I know that like some folks like to pull out and watch, like say, the Last Waltz by the band. Do you have any sort of traditions in that vein that you pull out around this time each year?
Well, you make me look like a bad music fan, but no, I really don't. Though I got to be honest, man, I'm very, we talked about Ozgiving. I'm very excited to celebrate that,
It's gonna be a lot
and
of fun.
I think that could be a good tradition. Paying, like,
Yeah.
what rock star do you want to give thanks to, and dedicate the day to that guy or that guy, that woman, and play their music, read all the interviews, listen to all the interviews, all of that, man.
See, that's a good recovery. I was just gonna say you could have made up a Thanksgiving album like Man, Facelift by Alice in Chains is my Thanksgiving album, but you went even further as you always do. You really scored that, so I like that.
Yeah,
Good job, sir.
Chaos Horrific by Cannibal Corpse, man. That's put that on for the family every morning.
Eaten back to life, a Thanksgiving classic.
That's right. That's actually, it's pretty good,
I tell
man.
you what, I
Yeah.
think we found a really good way to wrap up. There's no better way to like just blow it all up before we wrap up than what we just did. So thank you, Chuck. Well done.
Matt, always good to see you, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody tuning in right now. Debbie, I think you said Aerosmith was your first concert. That's awesome. Daniel, producer Daniel, man, who puts together our radio shows
He's
and
our
make them
guy.
sound good. He joined us, and Tommy LeBlanc saying all the legends seem to like Youngblood. Tommy,
Yeah.
totally agree, man. I think that's a huge thing. Like, you can judge someone based on their friends, right, or based on the people who love them, and so um, we gotta pay attention to that. But all that
I
being
judge
said,
you
happy
every day for that,
Thanksgiving.
by the way. Yeah. Yeah,
Happy
likewise.
Thanksgiving to you, Matt, to everybody tuning in. Get everything you need at store.loudwire.com and store.ultimateclassicrock.com. And I just know that these things are not infinite. Like, these things run out, the shelves do empty, and I just don't know, when we can restock or if we'll restock some of these things because they won't get repressed or anything like that. So it's always the fun of the hunt in the vinyl world. But we'll do this every Monday, man. It's the Rock Rundown. Thank you for hanging with us. Happy Ozgiving.
Okay.